This is an Alpine A110, and how cool is this?
I'm so good at pretending.
Handles so well.
Keep on smiling in my tiny.
G'day, welcome to sunny Sydney, a lot warmer than Canberra at the moment. Renault's been really kind to lend us the A110 Alpine today, and we're going to deep dive into it and see why. This blue meanie is a hell of a lot of competition for the Porsche Cayman, Alfa Romeo 4C and the Audi TT. If you haven't joined us before, welcome, and this is a part of Car Hunter with Hunter and Bly. So let's jump right into it. Now the Alpine A110 is something short of a miracle in 2019 because it is straight away applauded because it is not an SUV or a rebodied car. It is its own car and it's the third successor in the Alpine range. This A110 has a lot of historic throwbacks to the original A110. It is a lot more comfortable, it's packed with tech, and boy oh boy does it perform. Now since I've been lucky enough to drive the 718 Cayman and actually spend a bit of time with the 4C, we're going to see how this goes up right against those. This is the front of the Alpine A110, and straight away you can see the distinctive fog lamps on the front of it, which are actually daytime running lights. It sort of breaks it up and makes this car quite distinctive in the market against a Cayman or a Alfa Romeo 4C. You've also got no badging, nothing except for saying the word Alpine. Also, all aluminium body, so you've got these really nice creases and speed lines, and everything's quite functional as well, which we'll discuss. So these are the wheels on the Alpine, and everything is Alpine. Even the brakes are developed by Alpine. It's even stamped here on the inside. The wheels look really good. I really like these wheels. Silver goes really great with the blue. If you're gonna get one, get it in this spec. There's nothing different that you should be changing about this. But I love the blue calipers that complement the blue paint as well. This is quite obviously a mid-engine car, if I haven't told you already. Right here you have your air intakes. They're not as dramatic as the 4C or the Cayman, which they have them down the side. However, they do have your engine in the back and it's under glass. However, it's not as exposed as the 4C. You don't get to see as much stuff, and I'm a bit disappointed by that. It's a lot better than the Cayman because you can't see anything in that Cayman. So it's a bit of in between. They've covered it up, but you can still see there's a nice big A telling you that it's Alpine and the engine's right there. So as we approach the rear of the Alpine, this is sort of where I was a bit I'm in in photos, but I can tell you in real life, even though it seems like it comes out quite abruptly, it's still nice and swooping, and it's got a really good profile. Also, a cool fact, they had these little scoops in the aluminium, and I was sort of wondering what they do, and it's sort of redirecting air and a bit of an angle, so it's almost acting like a little ducktail spoiler, but I think that's just there to sort of stabilize the wind coming through the back as well. And obviously you have this nice big exhaust pipe that cracks and pops. I didn't think it was going to be as loud as it was going to be, but as soon as you put it in track mode or sport mode, it just livens up. Yeah, I like the look of that rear so much. As we jump inside the Alpine, it is a hell of a lot easier to get into than the 4C, and it is also a bit more sporty feeling than the Cayman. I'm a huge fan of these bucket seats. They hug you really well, and they're also specially designed for this car, and they really focus on making everything in this car was really lightweight. Nothing in here is excessive, and nothing in here is designed to add weight. You've got this beautiful steering wheel. I think it's perfect size. I don't think it should be any bigger or any smaller, and obviously these beautiful aluminium paddles as well, and the column mounted as well. I'm a fan of that. Although I understand for your knee and all that, but I wish they were just a little bit longer so you can tap them down a little bit lower. But I do like the use of screens. So the actual tachometer changes when you change out of 3 modes. So you have like normal mode, which sort of closes the valves and it makes it kind of quiet. But as soon as you open those valves, you press this sport button on the steering wheel. How cool is that? Like honestly, like, I mean, it's better than any sort of sport button I've seen on a car. It's just right there where you want it, so you can always change modes. When you go into track mode by pressing sport and holding it, it's going to change the tack layout. It's a bit McLaren-like, to be honest. And when you help into that track mode, it turns off your ESC. Obviously, just makes it as like unintrusive as possible for when you go to the track. It does liven that car up a little bit more, sort of turns it all the way up to 11, and really shows you what this is capable of. Also inside, you have this infotainment screen. Although a really cool thing, you do have performance pages. And when I say performance pages, I mean not just one. You have like several pages where you can go through and check everything from from how your steering telemetry or your oil temperature, or you can even see where your torque is landing and your power is landing on your power curves as well, which is just excessive but so cool. So I had a newfound respect for the center screen. I also love these buttons along here as well, and I love this like floating center console along here as well. And what you see here is actually real carbon fiber. I was under the illusion that was fake, but doing some more reading, it's just the way it's treated. It looks like that fake carbon fiber. Also, closing this door, I love the quilted stitching, and I love the tricolore little flag on here. I mean, you can't get a better looking car, and I love how the body panel paint comes in with you as well, so you're reminded of your beautiful blue paint that you did option on your car. Just look at this thing. This car is built for one purpose only, and that is to be one of the best sport cars that $100,000 can buy here in Australia. It's powered by a 4-cylinder motor put right in the middle, and it puts out 185 kilowatts and 320 newton-meters of torque. And yes, a lot of numbers, but this is good for 0 to 100 in 4.5 seconds, which is just mind-blowing for a car that costs that much, because you're not going to get that similar performance or that balance, for a matter of fact, for many cars around that price point. It also handles like anything as well. It's awesome to drive because it's got that even weight distribution, because you've got the sweet spot by having the engine in the correct place. And overall, this car is a miracle to like exist in 2019, as I said. And moving on to that, I think we need to go for a drive. It's a bona fide, like, almost mini supercar. Like, you can't beat it. It's, oh my gosh. It's funny because you expect it to be quite visceral and quite like unforgiving, just like the 4C, but in this, it's a lot different from that. But it just gives you the right noises at the right time. What happens when I take it off and put it into normal mode? It just drives like your normal base model Clio. Like, you do get a little burble, but it's sort of closed and it seems a bit muffled. So I obviously like to keep it in the sportiest modes. You've also got launch control, that of which we've not tested in Australia because, oh boy, will the cops get onto me. Otherwise inside, feels like you're driving something quite special. It doesn't feel like a parts bin car, which would be really, actually, my comment is that would be really easy to do. They could have just taken a Megane body and made it front wheel drive and then just gone, oh look, it's a Alpine, but they didn't do that. They had every opportunity to do that, but they didn't, and I applaud them for doing that. And I almost have the most amount of respect for this car, similar with how the 4C exists as well, and also the way this thing just sounds and looks, and everyone looks at you. You don't want to be a movie star, don't want to put the effort in, don't worry, just buy a Renault Alpine A110, because no one knows who you are because they just keep staring, and I love it. I can just tell you now, it's a really well balanced car. You can tell it's been really well thought out, and the noises, it's intoxicating. If you don't get anything like this in any other car, like, probably it's programmed in, let's be honest, right? But just being able to, like, I love, how do you, how do you even get that same feeling? You can't, because this car is so light and it doesn't have 185 kilowatts is nothing to, like, you're not going to lose your mind over that. But when you put it into a car that weighs like as much as pretty much a paperclip in comparison to like a Range Rover or something like that, this, you can't compare it. It's so just keeps me speechless. That's what it does. I don't think this car needs a manual at all. Turbocharged cars, naturally aspirated cars, yes. But look at this. Ready? That doesn't need a manual. You can't change that fast, and you can't enjoy the experience because you're thinking about keeping, revs at the right moment to get the boost going, whatnot. This car is really well built. So after all that leads me on to give it a Discovercars score. So straight away, the practicality score, it's a 4 out of 10. I mean, I can't fit 2 camera bags in this front boot, which is quite large, but it's just too shallow, and the back boot doesn't even let me fit my small little foam briefcase full of my camera equipment. So unfortunately, it does score a 4 out of 10. However, coming into Sydney, and I haven't driven here for a while, that that leads me on to the daily score. The daily score scores an 8 out of 10 because I was driving this around Sydney. I'd never driven this car before. It's a mid-engine car, and if you're driven around Sydney streets, around Alexandria and all that, I can tell you what, it's not the best roads in the world, possibly quite dilapidated compared to driving in Canberra. This car behaved just like a normal car as you would probably expect it, but for a mid-engine performance car, that's quite rare. So it does score an 8 out of 10 just because how easy it is to drive, and especially since this front actually does clear a few more things than you think it would, unlike the 4C, and the Cayman can get a little bit low as well. So that leads me on to the performance score. Like I said, 185 kilowatt engine, 320 newton meters of torque. Combine that with a car that weighs pretty much a feather in the automotive world. That's easily a 9 out of 10 for a car that also handles like it's on rails. And that leads me on to the cool factor. Look at this car. It's a throwback, but done the right way. There's minimal compromise for what they did to get this thing to look so different to the market, and also make sure you get those little Easter eggs of what you can see in the original car, sort of like the bonnet vanes, the roof, the rear scoops, the lights, all sort of throwbacks, but they've done it in a contemporary way where I feel like this is going to be a modern classic. Overall, the car gets a 7.5 out of 10, which brings all those scores together, and that's a really strong score for a car that really doesn't have much boot space, and to be honest, it shouldn't be your only car, but because of the way it drives, the way it sounds, the way it looks, you just excuse all that. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't seen my other videos, you can watch them down below. And also, I'll be writing a column about this, what it's like to live with and drive with this car with Hunter and Bly, so you can check that out when I post that via Instagram. Other than that, this has been the Alpine A110. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cameron Sutherland. We'll catch you next time.